Today, we're diving into something that affects so many of us, the feeling of being addicted to food. We're going to explore the incredible work of Dr. Claire Wilcox, an addiction psychiatrist, who shows us how you can actually rewire your brain to break free. So, if you've ever felt like you're not in control around certain foods, you are in exactly the right place.
So let's just get right to it. Have you ever really wondered why you just can't seem to stop eating certain things? Even when you're full or you really want to stop, that constant nagging feeling isn't just in your head. And the science we're digging into today shows there's a very real biological reason for it.
Okay, first things first, we've got to dismantle a huge, damaging myth. Let's talk about the willpower lie. This whole idea that if you struggle with food, it's because you're weak or you lack discipline. The science, as you're about to see, tells a completely different story. It's not your fault.
For so long, we've all been told the same old thing. It's just a willpower problem. Just eat less, exercise more, right? But the new science paints a radically different picture. This isn't about your character. It is a biological problem. The evidence is just piling up that our brains are literally being rewired by these highly engineered foods. And that shift in thinking right there is everything.
Now, to really get this, we have to be super clear on what addiction actually means from a scientific standpoint. It's not about just loving a food. The absolute heart of addiction is a loss of control. And that loss of control happens because of real physical changes in the brain. It's all about the inability to stop, even when you want to.
Dr. Anna Lemke puts it perfectly here. Our drugified food supply makes us all vulnerable to the problem of compulsive overconsumption. Just let that sink in for a second. The word drugified. She's saying the problem isn't inside of you, it's outside. It's the food environment we're all swimming in, an environment that's practically designed to make us lose control.
So that leads us right to the science. If the food is the problem, what on earth is it actually doing to our brains? This is where we meet the hidden villain of the story. Ultra-processed foods. The stuff that comes in crinkly bags and boxes, made in a factory, not grown on a farm.
So which foods are we really talking about here? Is it everything? The research is actually pretty specific. And when you see the pattern, it's kind of hard to ignore. It might not totally surprise you, but seeing it laid out like this is, well, it's an eye-opener. Just take a look at this. On one side, the most addictive foods. Pizza, chocolate, chips, cookies, ice cream. See a pattern? All highly processed. Then look at the bottom. Cucumbers, carrots, beans, apples, all whole, unprocessed foods. The difference is just so clear. This isn't an accident. This is by design. And how powerful is this effect, really? Let's talk about the number 500. In one amazing study, scientists put people in a lab and gave them either an ultra-processed diet or an unprocessed one. On the processed diet, people automatically ate 500 more calories every single day. Nobody told them to, it just happened. That's how much these foods can override our body's own fullness signals.
So how does your brain actually get hooked? It's a pretty straightforward but powerful loop. First, you eat one of these super rewarding foods. Step 2, your brain's reward center gets a huge flood of dopamine. We're talking levels similar to what you see with nicotine or alcohol. Then, your brain, being smart, learns to connect that food with that amazing feeling. And boom, step 4, that connection gets so strong, so ingrained, that seeking out the food becomes automatic. It's a learned habit wired right into your brain.
Okay, so that was the bad news, the problem. But here's where it gets really hopeful. Here's the empowering part. Because this is a biological problem, there is a biological solution. This isn't about you gritting your teeth and fighting yourself forever. It's about understanding how your biology works and using that knowledge to heal it.
Now, I need you to stick with me here, because this next idea might be the most important and the most counterintuitive thing we talk about today. To heal an addicted brain, weight loss cannot be the main goal. I know. That sounds completely backward from everything we've ever been taught. But there's a very good reason for this.
Here's why that shift in focus is so critical. Think about it. Traditional dieting almost always backfires. When you heavily restrict food, it actually makes you more likely to binge later. Being hungry makes your brain hypersensitive to every single food ad or smell.
And focusing on the number on the scale, it just fuels shame and self-blame, which are huge triggers for addictive eating. See the cycle? That's why the real goal has to be healing the brain first.
And like Dr. Wilcox says, the secret to success is nurturing these circuits back to health. Notice that word, nurturing. This is not about punishing yourself. It's not about deprivation. It's about rebuilding, about nourishing, about healing. And there are really clear ways to get started. Which brings us to the really good stuff, the path forward. So how do you actually begin this process of rewiring your brain and really your life? Let's break down the practical first steps you can take.
It really comes down to 3 core ideas. First, eat plenty of nourishing food. Your brain is a physical organ. It needs nutrients to heal. This is not about starving yourself. Second, you got to minimize those highly rewarding foods, your personal trigger foods. This gives your brain the quiet space it needs to rebalance its chemistry. And third, and this one's huge, you have to become a detective. Figure out what your triggers are, which foods, which situations, which emotions, so you can have a plan.
And what's the payoff for all this? What do you get? Well, it's so much more than changing your diet. It's freedom. Freedom from the constant cravings and the mental chatter about food. It's having more energy, a better mood, and just feeling at peace around food. It's getting your focus back, your confidence back, and maybe most importantly, it's finally reconnecting to your body's own signals of hunger and fullness.
So let's just end on this thought. Your brain was rewired by a food environment that, let's be honest, you didn't create and you couldn't control. But the power to rewire it back to health? That power is in your hands. It's a process of rebuilding one choice at a time. So the real question isn't about what you have to give up. It's about what you will choose to build instead.